Okay, so hi everybody, welcome back to our new video. Today, together with me, Kayla. And
Hey.
Kayla Smith is the one who created the project Autistic Black, right? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, and have her own YouTube channel, and she working to increase awareness about autistic women of color and autistic people of color, and to help society to accept autistic people and accept neurodiversity paradigm. Okay, Kyla, can you speak about? Thank you for joining us. Can you speak a little bit about your project?
Oh, my project. I'm just spreading awareness about, autism and get rid of the stigma around autism. And also let people know that autistic people still exist and we need more representation of us in the media because a lot of times the media may not reflect the way diversity and I want to change that.
Yeah, okay. And tell a little bit about yourself, how you find out that you're autistic.
Um, I was diagnosed with autism when I was 2 years old. When I was at 10 years old, my mom told me about my diagnosis and why I might be different and stuff. But I do notice it growing up, like that I'm very different, but I don't know why. Until my mom explained to me I was 10 years old. Cause it makes sense like why I go to speech therapy, special education class. It does make sense now when she tell me about my diagnosis.
So your parents don't tell you about your diagnosis despite that you was engaged in therapy and in special class. You were studying in special class. Is
Yes,
that
I
correct?
was in elementary school, but when I got to middle school and high school, I went to a mainstream class or I call it regular classes. So
Do your parents say to you why they try to hide your diagnosis from you?
yeah, they just told me I was teens and especially my mama, but I didn't know that age. But she told me about my diagnosis I was 10 and she
Okay.
tell me. I don't
And
know why, but that's a
okay.
good question.
And do you want to find out that you're autistic early when you were a kid?
Yeah, I wish I did, but I don't know why they didn't tell me before that I'm different, but that's a good question. I never thought about it that way, but kind of wish they kind of told me earlier that you may be different, but until I was 10, before I became the teenager, but so I wish they had told me sooner, but kind of too late. Like I'm trying to get comfortable in my own skin now. But at the same time, even though I want to be openly autistic, but I still have decided on my back, because I am a black woman. So I just wish the society won't be hard on autistic people, but it's what it is.
Yeah. So my next question would be about in this special class when you were studying. Do you knew any other autistic black kids or not?
Yes, when I'm in elementary school, um, I do remember like probably around I was real young, I probably don't remember. And I think I was the only black autistic girl in the whole class filled with boys, but I think the other black guy who were also autistic. I think me and him are only black autistic children in that whole class. When I got older, like fourth and fifth class, I think I met two um black autistic male. Then middle school, I think one in my BFF who were the only black autistic girl who looked like me, which
Mhm.
sadly. There's some Black artists, but there wasn't a lot. Probably around probably at least 5 or 6. Then find out my little cousins now they're autistic. So and not many people now I'm aware who look like me.
Yeah. Can you tell a little bit about problems in USA with diagnosis of Black autistic kids? Because I read that most of the kids who are diagnosed and most adults who are diagnosed, they are white, not Black. Can you tell a little bit about it? About invisibility and raising of Black autistic people?
Yes. I guess like back in the US, like it kinda like basically you know how disputed, like health disputed, all kind of disputed in the United States, it kind of affect Black people. We don't get the same access to our white peers. It seemed like kind of same with girls, for example, of like how often we're presented in the media. It may create some bias for doctors and other people in the field who may not know, like they may maybe misdiagnosing somebody and knowing they're autistic based on how autism represented kind of messed things up. Even though there's some progress, but it's still a long way to go to change the dispute in that when people try to get diagnosed with autism. Because I think the lack of education, lack of understanding, and cultural differences may impact someone from getting diagnosis. And there's some people working on it, but it's just gonna take a while to get there.
Yeah, and the similar problem of this with autistic women and autistic girls, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Similar.
so, yeah, and as I understand that autistic Black girls and autistic Black women, one of the most, maybe the most invisible autistic group in USA, yeah?
Yes, like I remember like one time like my mom told me about my diagnosis. And I did some little research about my diagnosis, like, oh, autistic girls. It was a lot of information. When I go to see people like me, for example, Black autistic girls, I don't see barely none. When I was like 13, 12 years old at the time. But as I got older, it's a little bit, it's not enough.
Yeah. Recently, maybe in the last 5 years, appeared more articles about autistic women and autistic girls, but most of the authors of these articles are white people. I don't know so many, not, don't know much autistic Black activists and or autistic Black actors. Can you speak a little bit about autistic women, Black autistic women and autistic women of color in diversity movement, and about maybe representation in media, representation
Yeah,
of Black autistic.
yeah.
And
There's
more.
not many of us out there. Like probably like 1 to 3 movies that display Black autistic character, but it's not enough. But I wish it were more, but it's not enough. Same with girls too, but it's getting there, but it's not there.
Yeah.
Um, what I want people to know, um, I want people to know that we do exist, and there's some organization out there for the if we get the same resources. And I want to know like you exist, you're not alone.
Yeah, yeah.
I used to think like that, but you're not alone this time. You got community, and now you got role model. Cause I wish I had a role model growing up, but I don't. So hopefully, I'll be the role model for the next generation.
Yeah. Can you speak about your project to make autistic women of color more visible? What are you doing and who help you, and maybe tell a little bit about other activists?
Yes, there's some Black autistic women out there I follow who doing some great work. Uh, my Mary Kay Ogle, I hope I say her last name right, and she on Twitter, and there Raya, Patterson, um, there other Black autistic women out there on Twitter on social media doing spreading awareness and they and also do remember that other TCPOC create a book called All the Way of Our Dream. Is
Yeah,
to talk about the basically autistic people could experience with it by sharing they the stories. I got the book, it's pretty good. And what else? Um, and also use the hashtag Autistic Black Pride or just talk about your experiences would like to be you, because everybody experience gonna be different.
yeah. Can you tell a little bit about your own project?
Yeah, the I my project was the Autistic Black Pride, and mostly about promoting like breaking your artistic pride and black pride and be embrace who you are. 'Cause a lot of times, and we live in a society that don't want you to embrace who you are. And a lot of times, they either be black issue or disability issue. What what if you both of them? Why be private in both of them and be private for who you are instead of talk about one issue because I can't talk about one side issue. I gotta be both because I'm affected by both issues having impact in my life or everybody like who also black autistic and also their family member could use it talk about their experiences why how they child joyful we need more representation of embracing who we are because we need that more and more
Yeah.
representation for us.
And can you tell a little bit about your YouTube channel?
Yeah,
What the main topics and etc. Yeah. Sure.
yes, my channel is Autistic Kayla, the opinion of a black woman. I had not been using it lately because of the pandemic and work and school. So mostly my channel mostly about to talk about my life, autistic issue, black issue, whatever come with their channel. Just talk about life in general. Cause I just wish people, see more black autistic people out there. So at least have give some hope to some black parents who have autistic child. Like there's some hope, not to be down. You're not alone. I'm here.
Yeah. And when you started to all these activist projects and how it started, why you decided to start it?
Yes, like when I started being an advocate, I never heard about this big issue till I went on Twitter. I never heard this big issue. Never. I just hear black issue, LGBT issue, nothing about disability. And I wonder why. And because people have biases and I always keep disability away from the conversation because people don't know about disability and they might vandalize disabled people or they think disabled people don't worth living because of bias and ableism. And then find out the ableism and racism how combine and how they interact with one another. They're very pretty interesting how intersectionality works. Then I kind of ever since then I kind of my work kind of be talk about intersectionality of racism and ableism. And then find out like there are not many people who like me in the activism. So hopefully I can do that, spread awareness.
And where you started all these projects and your channel and Autistic Black Pride when you started? It was how long this project exist?
Yes, the Autistic Black Pride have been there since 3 years ago.
Okay.
On April, yeah, April of 2018, that's when I started the hashtag of Autistic Black Pride and my YouTube channel a year later.
Okay, yeah. Okay, can you talk a little bit about problems of autistic Black people and autistic Black women in particular? What's the main problem of autistic Black people and autistic people of color in USA?
Yeah, mostly like autistic people call fearing racism, you know, like we had to do the fact, the stereotype, the stigma, how we are represented in the media. Especially you heard about Black Lives Matter, you knowing disabled Black people are affected too, even though we might be disabled, but we all had, but we had to do the fact we are Black or other of my autistic POC peers might have a similar, different come to racism, how they be treated. And I know it gonna be different for everybody. And we had to like stand up and hopefully our allies help her out to understand, like, just listen to us. And a lot of times we're not being heard, especially in the Black community or in the autistic community, or just community as a whole, because they may not aware of the ableism they put all the all the this is it's, it's a lot of work that need to be done, and hopefully autistic people see other Black disabled and other people see do the work and make sure we are being heard, because a lot of times we are put in the sideline too long.
Can you tell a little bit? I was reading that autistic Black people often face problem with police because police don't understand their behaviors and etc. Can you tell a little bit about it? About violence from police?
Yes, since the Black community and the police community have a bad relationship pretty for a long time. And it's, you know, even though we put the bit of trust between police and the community to make sure we are safe, but a lot of times due to biases and not understanding, and it may lead to a police officer may create some biases and may put other people at risk because of who we are, because we're not no threat. We are human beings. But sometimes they view it as a threat and we could get killed easily. We might not be treated the same as those who don't. You know, it's, and plus, given the fact the police officer may not understand about disability either, even though they get trained on it, and if they'll go have somebody despite how much training they put in, it's still not working. And we just need more resources. We need some kind of boundary, because it just right now it just everybody looks stressed out.
Yeah, unfortunately. So police don't have many information about autism, or they just don't want to use it. What do you think the main problem and or was?
Yes, it's a lot of work, and also then I realize how people put in a policy, like where like do with voting, you know, just like police reform, thing like that. They may not think about how different people are being impacted by the certain decisions that people put out there, like LGBTQ plus, and other people who are marginalized might be affected by the certain policy they may not intentionally do, but I think people who doing the policy way had to like connect to the district community, the POC community, women community, etc. Make sure they don't leave people out. If they do, it's gonna be discriminatory and it might put other people at risk. So the policy have to be intersectional, so keep people safe.
Yeah. Do you ever face racism in neither diversity movement or in disability rights movement or not?
Say that one again.
Yeah. Do you ever face racism in disability right movement? Do you have any problem with disability right movement because you are Black?
I think like when it comes to like discussing racism and how people who are, disabled and POC or LGBTQ plus, you name it, and some people may not realize, even though you can be disabled, being present disabled, but you're not pressed, you know, if you male, white, cisgender, heterosexual, you name it, but may not want to be allied to your other people who might be oppressed even more because due to their marginalized identity. And sadly, there's some people in that community it's just, you know, biases just like everybody else. They need to to unlearn it and be a better person, but you can't make people they don't want to do.
Yeah. But most of the problem in disability right community with racism because people in disability right community don't want to listen or they're just ignorant.
I think the disability community had to get uncomfortable and talk about all very issue, and if you don't confront them issue, and people could be probably go leave the community, feel like unwanted, unwelcome, because due to people don't not willing to have the deep conversation. Because we need to have the deep conversation and move forward as a community. If not, we're gonna be divided and be upset.
Yeah. And what about anti-racist community and Black community? Do they know about autism? What most of the activists think about autism? Do you face any problem with Black community because you are autistic?
Yeah, like I know I can't speak for all people, but I know the Black community, it's just not many resources out there about
Yeah.
autism. And it make it bad because how it even being put out to the media, it kind of make it bad enough. And I think people like me or other people in that community to educate about autism because not many people know about autism because like a resource, and hopefully we can educate more people to like accept autistic people, especially to to those who know someone who else be Black autistic, like to understand that they're being hard on them due to stereotype, and hopefully we go move forward.
Yeah. And now, do you know now some prominent activists in Black community who started to support neurodiversity paradigm and autistic right movement?
Yeah, there are people in the Black community. There were Thomas, I'm calling Tom Garman, Kamika, Owen, Ra, Person, me, um, what other people? They're like a parent organization, like Autism Black, she non-autistic person. And there are other Black organizations that talk about autism, but uh, there's a lot of work that need to be done, and very
Yeah.
more work.
And in recent years, situation became better with diagnosis of Black people and with understanding of autism in Black community.
Maybe just just educate people, just understand autistic people better, and
Yeah.
understand autism better because so many misinformation about
Yeah.
autism, and sadly, we can't change people's opinion, but hope we could change how they view things and hope we do better and not assume that it gotta be one way or the other. Cause Yeah, I guess that one.
Yeah. Can you speak a little bit more about problem with representation in media, with representation of autistic people and, in particular, autistic Black people?
Yes, it's basically how autism was founded back in 1940s.
Yeah.
It just majority of who in the study mostly male and who is from an upper middle class and mostly white. And they probably had been continuing to this day, even though now it's more diverse now, but the image of artists still dominating the conversation. And I sometimes you wish they could reflect and have a different story instead of give it the same old um, storyline again. They need to change that. They need to, and people who need to cast autistic people because most of the time, most of the actors who not non-autistic, who non-autistic play autistic role, and yeah, that part. And they need to like change more because we can't keep continue this image of autism like that. We need to change it. It
Yeah.
won't be fair.
And can you tell a little bit about autistic people in mass culture? I mean, in TV, in films, in books, and representation of Black autistic people.
Oh, I think of like maybe little to none representation of autistic people, even though it's a little more out there, but it's still kind of like from a parent perspective or
Yeah.
education perspective, but not actually from autistic perspective, and not even from other peers, who other POC, LGBTQ plus, you name, but it's not many.
Yeah. Do you know some good fictional character, some good autistic fictional character, good in sense of representation, and some maybe Black autistic fictional character?
I did see some autistic book. Forgot the, but I did mention All the Way I Dream, which is a non-fiction book. I see the other fiction book. I just can't figure the name.
Okay.
I just can't think. I know what it is. I just can't think of it. There are um other children book, something like that, but I just can't pick up what them name are. I had to look them up.
And maybe you can name some bad example of representation, maybe some film or some books.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm gonna see if any autistic people wrote some books. I'm sorry. I just have a bad connection.
It's okay. Okay. Okay, here. Okay, maybe you could tell how this, how to explain it. Okay, when I first started to read about autism, it was near 7 years ago, I think, and most of the articles were written by white people. Most of the articles that I try to find now, most of the articles written by white people too, but it's more people of color in autistic movements and even in parents movement. Can you tell a little bit about this change where it's more people of color and it's more women too, I think, more autistic people who belong to different marginalized groups. Can you tell a little how this changed in recent years and why this happened?
I think it's important like to know different perspectives. It can't be one sided,
Yeah.
and because not every story fit all. It's gonna be different. And I know that Autistic Women and Non-Bed Network do have some books for like parents, you know, from other autistic people, which is kind of pretty cool. And hopefully like give some more perspective. And, and there other people do it too, but it's kind of a lot of autistic book and out there is just too many. Can't keep track.
Yeah. But situation became a little better in recent years. I think it's slow change, but it changed, yeah.
Yes, it getting there slow. It's just kind of wishing more resources,
Yeah.
but it getting there.
Why do you think it's not so many famous Black autistic people?
Yeah, none about Black or autistic people, POC in general. This is not many of us in the book
Yeah.
stuff. Even though a little bit is not enough.
Yeah, but why? What's the reason why it's so? I don't remember. Before I started to read in English, for example, I read about Temple Grandin, I read about Ayman, but I don't read any articles about Black autistic people before I started read in English and translate something. So I don't know any autistic kind of celebrities and something like this. Why do you think it's happened?
Yeah, I just think it's due to the image of autism being put out in the media and not many people are aware of autism, and also find maybe some language barrier too, because people don't have that different research in different country, because different country may be different. So maybe exposed to the resources while other countries don't. Could be why, could be some friction and lack of understanding.
But it's more difficult to black person, to autistic black person to become famous in I don't know, in the human rights community, or famous like I don't know, like Temple Grandin, because all famous autistic people, most of the famous autistic people are white.
Yeah, they also keep showing that people, autistic people who able to speak, it kind of maybe by misrepresenting the whole autistic community, even though we can't speak for all autistic people, maybe we just need more diverse,
Yeah.
you know, autistic people, because we can't have it the same old, oh, you had to speak, you speak, you normal. No. And the function level just it's not working. This is kind of like not fair. Just put limit on people for no reason because they may need more help than the others is not fair.
Yeah. If you could change this situation to make the life of Black autistic people better, what you would change in the first place?
Maybe just change the image of autism, like make a movie or book, something about it, because we need to change the image and we need to reflect the real diversity, not be one-sided perspective of autism. We need more diverse voices, because we can't have a single narrative. We can't have this single narrative for over 70 years now. It's been there too long. We need to change. And people need to open up and do more research instead of just thinking this you have to be this to be autistic. It more than that. And often just have more autistic people or disabled people in roles like in the acting, media, production, you name it. So they could reflect well stereotype. So we reflect what a real autistic person or disabled people daily life, instead of just stereotyping like make it all bad.
Yeah, and is it more difficult to be autistic Black women than autistic Black men?
Yes, just given the fact that they already see uh black people as a threat, they may not consider you autistic. Or they always see you as a threat, and due to stereotype how they see us, it's already hard enough. We gotta be this certain way, protect ourselves because we're not safe.
Yeah. And what about autistic black women? Do women have some problems that autistic black men don't have?
See
Women
you
and girls.
angry, frustrated, you name it. You know, like don't care for it. It's just a lot going on, that black man has to deal with a daily basis, while black
Yeah,
man had to deal with the fact, he had to see a different way. While this is a lot of, it's complicated enough. It's
yeah,
hard enough to be black in America. So
yeah,
they always picture like either a black man or a black woman definitely basis through a stereotype, how we get viewed, think we're not good enough. We just and also for they always depend on the black one particular to save everybody. We can't save everybody. They kind of use that as a partners. They're like, oh, I'm not a racist. Oh, blah blah blah. Using that like, oh, we thank you, black women, to save us. No, you gotta save yourself because y'all created a situation we didn't create, and putting black men in jail and stuff. It just uh, it seems like the systems want to fail us. So
yeah,
we exhausted.
yeah. And what about autistic girls, little autistic girls, maybe? What's their main problem? And what about black autistic girls? Is there a difference between black and white autistic girls?
Not it seemed like autism appeared to be more than boys when they had than with being girls. And people may not believe that you can be autistic because you had to be a girl. But
Yeah,
for me, I had when I was 2. So some people I follow, they find they're autistic years later, while they teenage year or even adult and have children find that they're autistic years later. Due to the disputed stuff and people bias at the time, they may not assume that, oh, you can be autistic and be a girl. And through how autism was founded, it kind of messed everything up. Same with black girls. Where for black disabled people, they always diagnose black disabled people as HAD or behavior disorder, but not autistic.
yeah,
For girls, like behave by emotional problem or white girl typical do. It's based on stereotype. So there's a lot of biases. You had to be a girl and had to be black. You even yeah.
yeah. It's difficult. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. Okay. No, it's not okay, of course. And I want to ask about Black Lives Matter movement, how it's influenced disability right movement. Even there any influence of disability right movement or autistic movement?
Yes, ever since George Floyd and Breonna Taylor, what happened last year when in the pandemic. Woo! It was a lot going on that year. And then a lot of time like basically like hearing from black disabled people, you never hear us. It kind of like our disability kind of being taken out of the conversation till we had to look in deep and research that person has some form of disability. And now there are people out there using Black Disabled Lives Matter during protests because, not many awareness about Black disabled people getting killed and by the police, and not many coverage either. There's a lot of work to be done. It's getting there, but not there.
Okay. During Trump administration, the life of Black disabled people became worse than during Obama administration. Can you speak about these changes and what changed now after Trump gone?
Well, with the Trump administration, it's have a lot of problems. Let's say that with voting. Let's say that measure have a lot of problems. How they segregate the immigrant paying for their children. It's a lot of bad decisions that the administration made and impact people, and how they kind of obliviate, like protecting the police community in a way, and white supremacy and police brutality toward Black people, and it's just a lot of mistakes they made. It's just impacted, and they kind of put her in harm's way. And now we got a new president. Now the new president had to undo everything the previous administration had. So, and maybe in Barack, they got their own issue, but it's not like bad.
Yeah.
But I was a teenager, so I don't know. And while in the President Barack Obama, I was a teenager, so I really paid attention about it that much. When the election, Donald J. Trump, that kind of know about politics there, but it's different now.
Yeah. Do you believe the situation became better in the Biden administration?
I think the President Biden trying to like undo everything and trying to, especially with the pandemic happening last year, and he got to find a way to give like a racial equity, because a lot of times Black people and other people said be infected by the pandemic due to like a lack of resources and a disparity in every sphere of life. And he tried to like fix it and find a way to get them resources, and hoping he keep his promises.
Yeah, I hope so. Okay, I think the last question, what do you want to say to Black autistic girls, to the next generation of Black autistic girls?
Don't be hard on yourself. You just learn your burnout.
Yeah.
Learn to take care of yourself. So I wish I learned how to take care of myself too. And also be the role models for the next generation at the next. And it just don't maybe not be too inspirational, but hopefully be an example.
Yeah, it's a good words. Okay, thank you very much. I think it would be sorry. I think it would be the first interview that I would publish. After that, I would publish a series of interview. Okay, bye everyone, and if you like our channel, you could subscribe on it and share this video. Like it. I hope you would like it. It was very informative. Thank you very much. Bye.
Thank you. Bye. Have a good day.
Thank you. You too.
Bye.
Bye.